I'm pretending I'm sitting outside looking at this clear blue sky, beautiful tree, flowers, wonderful day, and I'm going to paint it. Again, I'm only using red, yellow, and blue on my palette, and white and some brown. And I'll start out by putting the white down on the left-hand side of my sky, because I always work from left to right and then down. Again, I'm doing Impressionist style painting, so I'm dabbing with my brush. I'm not trying to be detailed. I'm not going to smooth it out. My brush strokes are actually part of the painting. That's how the Impressionists painted. They were really interested in light and color more than they were in detail. None of their stuff was ever detailed. And actually, it's a really nice way to paint. It's a way that people can paint if they're not trained artists and really feel good about their work. So I've got the white down, and then I put blue down. Blue is actually dark coming out of the tube, but because I put it on top of the white and it mixes on the paper, it's lighter. And you see I've got some white up there, and I've got some blue that I'm dabbing into it. And so a nice clear blue sky. Up here it's a little bit darker. I'll add a little bit more blue. And I just keep working it until I get it the way I want it. Now to speed things up using my iMovie program. So I'm adding some more dark yet because I wanted it darker. And now I'll work my way over here. And you see I've got a cloud over here, and I'm going to start putting more white in, and especially in the place where the cloud's going to be. And I wipe the paint off my brush because I want more white and not as much of the other colors in. And so I dab that in. I dab it where I want the cloud to be. The cloud has some shadows in it. If you look, you can see that it's not all completely white. It's got a blue shadow in there, and maybe a little bit of a grayish blue shadow. So I have white, I put in blue, I add a little bit of brown in there, and it'll give me that bluish gray shadow that the cloud will have. And again, I just mix it right on the paper. I just dab it and let it mix all by itself. Okay. Now I'll finish off my sky down here. I've got some white that I'm putting down again because it's very light down there. The sky's very light. And go back in here and put a little bit more dark because it's more dark. I just keep working it around. A little bit darker under here, so a little bit more blue on my brush. A little bit darker up here. I just keep looking back and forth at the landscape, and then I paint what I see. All right, now for the tree. The tree's green. I only have yellow and blue. I start out with yellow. It's always better to start out with a lighter color. I'll dab it on. And I'm going to got some blue on my brush. And I'll dab that right into the light yellow. See what happens, it turns into green. And because I'm using just the brush strokes, it actually gives more of the idea of the leaves on the tree than if I just painted it flat. You see all the different kinds of green I can get just by mixing the yellow and blue. I'm adding a little bit of white in there for some highlights, and a little bit of brown. A little bit of brown in there too, because I've got some dark areas where the shadows are, and it helps give the tree some more form. Makes it look more three-dimensional. Now for the meadow itself. I'll start out with yellow because it's all green, and I put yellow down first to mix the green. And now I've got blue on my brush, and I'm working it into the yellow. You see how it becomes green. The more blue I have, the darker the green is. And it is actually darker green over there in the left-hand side. So I just keep adding blue, and I add yellow, and I mix them together on the palette just by dabbing my brush. There's parts where it's there's a little bit more shadow evident in different weeds and grasses and stuff, so that part has more blue. And see, I'm adding a little bit more blue here, but not a lot. And just working my way in, making texture. A little bit more blue, work it into the other stuff. I get all kinds of neat greens. All right, now I've got a little smaller brush here, and I'm going to put the tree trunk in. Now to do a little bit more detailed work like that, I lean my hand on the surface on the table, and it steadies my hand. And then I hold my brush more like a pencil, and I just take my time painting the tree trunk in. And there's a few branches that show, so I'm going to add those as well. Then I notice that the tree trunk has some highlights and some shadows. And so I've got a little bit of white on my brush that's mixing with the brown and adding some highlights. And then I have a little bit of blue on my brush that's adding the shadowed areas too. And all of it's being put together when the paint's still wet. So there's my tree trunk. All right, now for the little flowers. It's had a chance to dry a little bit, and the flowers on here are red and pink. So I've got a little bit of red on the end of my brush, and I'm just putting little dots in there. That when an impressionist paints like flowers in the field, if you look up close, all it is dots and brush strokes mostly. So that's what I'm doing right here. Now with this, I put a little bit of white on my brush too, along with the red, and I'm dabbing this in, and it's giving me the pink flowers. And I got a few more red flowers up here. Again, I'm just, if you look from a distance, you don't see the flowers in detail. All you do is see color and texture and light. And so that's what the Impressionist painted, and that's what I'm doing here. Now here I've got more white on my brush. These flowers are more white. Last thing I'm going to do is put the road in. And so I'll start with white again, because any brown I use will come out a lot darker from the tube. And I don't have the same kind of brown. In the picture it would be more of a reddish brown, but I'm using the same brown I had for the tree trunk. And it works too. Sometimes you just have to use what you have. I put a little bit more brown on the tip of my brush, and there's some shadows that are on the road from the plants. And so I'm working those in, trying to make them more shadow-like. And back here, I make it a little darker to just give the idea of more distance. So there's my finished landscape picture. And if you want to do a picture that has trees and bright sky and meadow and things like that, even if it's not exactly the same one, you can use the same techniques that I used in this one, and you can have some good results.